They say the third one is always the worst one. And whether or not this was the third one that was made, this was the third one that I watched. And unfortunately, nothing has ever been truer. Welcome to day 3 of Was I Wrong? The series where I watch these TV shows and decide whether or not I was too hard on this other movie that I gave a negative review. Today I want to talk about I Hate Christmas. This is the Italian version of the two shows that I've discussed in the two previous videos. In this one, we follow the same story that is told, but it's told in Italy. Not only in Italy, it is told in Venice, a town that exists around a canal, a river, a lake, the sea. I don't know. It's a town where like mode of transport, you're either on a bicycle or you're on those little boats. I don't know what those boats are called. I think while watching this, I had to pause and just be jealous of how some countries have some of the most beautiful and walkable cities. We don't have any walkable cities here. Everything needs you to have a car. I digress. In this version, we follow this girl called Gianna, who, once again, tells a lie to her family about having a boyfriend and then has to spend the entire of December trying to find a mate who she can present to her family. This one is the one that tries so hard to be different, to a fault. Because while I was watching these shows, I kept on telling myself, this feels a lot like someone watched Fleabag and forgot to take all the nice things about Fleabag and thought, I got it. You know, like when you're studying and you're supposed to take notes and you read an excerpt and it makes sense, you're like, yeah, I got it. And then you come to the exam and you completely fail that exam because you just hit a blank because you didn't study the right way. That's what it feels like with this version. It feels like someone watched Fleabag and said, I can totally do that. And so we're just watching the story being told from a different perspective. Like one change that they make is that the main character constantly breaks the fourth wall, like constantly talks to you. Like it'll cut to like office style, break the fourth wall, documentary type of confessional, and then we'll go back to the story, which sometimes for me is kind of off-putting because you're trying to follow the story, you're trying to let the story flow, and then at some point it's like, oh, we have to listen to you talk again, which feels like I'm being too hard on the show because all of these shows have narration in them, but this one I think it just drives it home a bit too much. But I will say the big positive is that like the location of this one is beautiful. Like there's an establishing shot that happens that made me go, hey, that looks like Howl's Moving Castle. And that made me question a lot of things. Because like I always thought like that like Hayao Miyazaki movies took place exclusively in Japan. I guess I'm wrong. But I really loved looking at the show. In terms of the character choices and in terms of the things that are done and the changes that were made, there is one change that I do appreciate, but also the change, I guess, comes at the expense of like, okay, I guess we don't get anything, I guess, from this one. That's just the big thing. But I do think that like the certain things that I added to this version that weren't really needed. The final episode really upset me because it's 40 minutes long. I was like, you don't need that much time. Especially if you're gonna try and repeat the same beats that were done in the Norwegian version and the same beats that we saw in the South African adaptation. It really upset me a little. But overall, once again, it is one of those shows that it has its people. Like I think there's a market of people who aren't as strict as I am, who aren't looking to watch a movie to be blown away, to see mesmerizing shots and beautifully written dialogue. They just want drama. And this show is chock full of drama. These shows are chock full of drama. And if that's what you're looking for, you'll have yourself a good time. I, unfortunately, will always look for more when it comes to film and productions. I really, really, really don't compromise because compromising is what leads us to this reality that we're in of AI slop, this reality that we're in of people convincing us that there's nothing good out there when there's so much good out there. These are just outliers, okay? This is not the standard, according to me. But don't listen to me. Give them a watch yourself. Let me know what you think. If I'm wrong, you have every right to tell me I'm wrong. If there's one thing that I don't mind being told, especially with things such as film, especially with things that open a conversation, I don't mind being told I'm wrong. If you're telling me I'm wrong in my professional job, I'll tell you to go fuck yourself. But this is not my professional job. This is just something that I love. So yeah, give it a watch and let me know what you think. I hate Christmas. I don't know what the Italian name is. I'm not even going to try and speak Italian. The only thing that I know that is Italian is cosa, Venta cosa, because of old Pond's adverts.